Okay, you've got your product, you've got it set into your palette. What's the next step? Don't be intimidated to start applying. Okay, nothing to wait for. Nothing is perfect in this, and you don't have to. Honestly, you do not have to be perfect in this. And you'll find that the more that you use your Saint Beauty 3D system, it's going to evolve. You'll watch another video, you'll apply it a little bit differently. You might switch up your colors here and there, again, depending on what the season is. So just dive in there. Worst thing that can happen is you go in, you wash your face off, and you start again. So don't stress about it. If you have the stay spray, I always like to start with that. So I have a clean face. I have I use the milk system. So I've used the cleanser, I've used the toner, I've used that beautiful cream moisturizer. I did that a little bit ago. You want to let your moisturizer set in, no matter what type of moisturizer you're using. And then if you have your stay spray or another primer, now's the time that you want to apply that. And I'm just going to do just a quick spritz of that. And then I'm going to take my Perfector sponge, and you can see that I have dampened that as well. And I'm just going to go over. And what this does for me, and it's really great if you have oilier skin, but what it does is not only does it really help to moisturize the skin as well, the ingredients in that are just absolutely spectacular. But it's going to help with any open pores, and it's going to help you use less product, to be quite honest with you, because it's just like when you're painting. If you use a primer, it's not going to sink in so much. It's going to settle and it's going to adhere to your skin. Okay, so it dries pretty well instantly, and now we can start the application. So I'm starting with some clean brushes, and I'm going to take my palette. You may have seen me put together your custom palette for you, so I hope you've got that all set up. And I'm going to start firstly with some color correcting. I have some redness, so if you have some redness, maybe you've broken out somewhere, anywhere with red is where you're going to want to go in with a darker color corrector, something in a brown or a green. And I'm going to use the Triple D brush. This is the one that we recommend for everybody getting started. Just a great, great starting brush. So my color corrector that I use, and I may have recommended for you, is called Aspen. Okay, so that is, it's actually one of our contours, but it just works fantastically at covering redness. So you can see I've just loaded up the brush there, just dabbed it in there. Less is more with this. If you need more, you can always go back and add more later on. So I'm just going to stipple that in there. I'm not using a lot of pressure. I'm not using a lot of product, but you can see how effective that is. And I like to cover the redness on my cheeks as well. And it just evens out. Now, something you can do if you have melasma, maybe you've got some like a pregnancy mask, a really great tip is to use our Bella bronzer first before you apply anything else, and it just gives you an even tone as well. I don't have a lot of dark spots that I've got one little spot here. It doesn't really bother me. I usually just put a little bit of Aspen on it. And I have some scarring on my chin and in here that I like to just do a thin coat of that as well. Now, I do have some blue-green under my eyes, and I've got what did the cosmetologist say there? I've got where the fat has actually fallen in my eye, and it's quite common. My mom had it as well, but I do have some blue green, and so I like to use, there's 3 different colors you can use from that, and your artist may have suggested that there's a sunlit, there is Frenchy, which is actually a lip and cheek, funnily enough, and then there's mango. And I like to use, I use a bit of a combination. Today I'm going to use the mango, and I'm just going to, what brush should I use here? I'm going to use one of the ends of the detail brush. Just going to, very, very small amount of the mango on there, and I'm just going to go under where that blue-green is. And don't worry too much. It's going to get covered up by your highlight. when we go to put that on. Okay. The other side. And this is what's so great is that it's personalized to you. And if you ever get a color, don't worry. If it's not working out, it could be application. So make sure you get back in touch with your artist. But it could be that it's not quite the right color for you. We've got a 60-day shade swap. So if it's within 60 days, just get in touch with the artist and they'll help you get that figured out. Okay. Real simple to do. We want you to be absolutely 100% happy with everything that you've gotten. Okay. So I've done some color correcting. Now it's time to go in and I like to start, I'm going to start today. You can do this in any order that you want to, but why don't I do it the way that we've got that set up there. I'm going to start with our contour, and I actually am using henna. So you're going to have been color matched to something, and so I'm actually going to use the detail brush for this. But you can use the triple D brush. There's lots of different application. I like this one. You might not have it, but not to worry. If you're using this one, you're going to use the bigger end, and you're just going to hold on to that and do basically the same thing. Okay, so this one is just a little finer. It's called the detail brush, and I'm going to find my cheekbone. I tend to go up right at the very bottom of my cheekbone. I know I used to do it down here, but what I found is that draws your face down. And so, as I said, you're going to find you're going to fine tune this. And I like to just go just a little bit further up. So you can see in the illustration over here where we're putting the different colors. Okay. Now I can use henna, I can use ash, I can use Astoria. I can actually go into indigo, which is one of the very darkest colors as well. And it does depend on the time of the year as well. It just kind of depends on what you're looking to do. Are you looking more dramatic? Or are you just looking for a daytime look? Makeup is so interchangeable, and there are no rules. Now, most of the time, you're going to want to go only to about the center of the eye. I do like to accentuate my cheekbones here as well. I guess that's not cheekbones, but my cheek in that part. So I do tend to come out a little bit further than you might want to. And then we're going to go just up into the forehead here. You can come over a bit. And again, what we're trying to create is this three-dimensional look to it. All right, I am going to just do a little bit on the sides of the nose. I think I'm actually going to use my finger for that application. Sometimes I use the brush, sometimes I use a finger. And there's something called the cheetah hack too, that you can actually use your finger for the application of the whole thing. If you're interested in that, I can show you. And there might even be a video right on here, depending on where you're watching this, that says cheetah hack. Okay, so you can see how I've done that. I'm using the henna just at the top of my nose, and I'm just trying to create the look that my nose is a bit longer. I like to do a little bit here because I have a round nose, kind of a little bit of a bulbous look on the end of it. All right, starting to look a little scary. Okay, I'm going to go back into that triple D brush. I'm going to use the same side that I did for the color corrector, that Aspen, and I'm going to go into my first color, which right now I'm using is called Aspen. I actually go between Aspen, Candlelit, and Sandy for my main colors. And you might find that there's a lot of different colors that you can use as well. June is another one that I can use. I have a complexion that I can get away with a lot. And so just fool around with the colors and find what works for you. Like I said, it's going to depend on the time of the year as well, how dark your skin is. And so where we're going to put the main color, we're going to start out and kind of on the bottom of the face underneath where we did the contour. Okay. And I have more mature skin, so I like to stipple it in. Less is more. That looks like I've got a lot on, but I'm telling you it's not. Because it's so highly pigmented, it just isn't a lot of product. And that's what always kept me from using contouring and highlighting, what we call a hat, which is our highlighting and contouring. Because by the time I finished putting all of that makeup on, my face felt so thick. And I did not like it. I just wanted to wash my face right away. And you don't get that. Now, if you are getting that and you've just received your product, it may take a couple of weeks for your skin to adjust. Now, there's nothing the matter with that adjust time, but you might notice that you might have a little bit more oiliness. You might even have a little itchy spot here and there. And I'm telling you, everybody that has persevered has come through that. And it happened to me as well, where the makeup was shifting just a little bit because I wasn't used to a cream makeup. My skin wasn't used to the cream makeup. And now, honestly, I've been using it for just about 7 months. I guess it has been 7 months. And it just feels like a second skin. It is so lovely and natural on. And that's what we're finding with everybody. If it feels like it's too much, you've probably used too much or you're in that adjustment period. Okay. I personally like to do a bit of my mane right up and through here just to give it a start and up into my eyelids. When you put this on your eyelids, it acts as such an amazing primer for when you go to do your shadow application. Okay. Now I'm going to go into my second color, and I'm going to use Candlelit as my brightening highlight today. Okay. So we're going to go right over that mango that we put on. Now don't worry too much about what it looks right now because we're going to blend it. And as I always say, it's when you blend it that the magic happens. Down the center, onto the forehead. Sometimes I use 3 different colors for my highlighting as well. So it's basically you're doing kind of an upside down triangle here. You're doing triangles here, down the center of the nose. I'm actually going to put a little bit of linen, just go a little bit lighter down the center of my nose, a little bit here, and a little bit on the chin. Okay. If you have a more crepey eye, you have more wrinkling, you don't have to go right up to the bottom of the eye. When you blend, that'll all blend in together. So those are the basics. Looking pretty crazy right now. At this point, you can either blend with a perfector sponge. A lot of people like to use their perfector sponge. I prefer to use this brush, which is called the Blush and Bronzer brush. A little tip there, I've said it before, if you're going to get this one, and I do highly recommend getting this one, get it in the bundle with the Bella bronzer. At the time of the recording, that's the only bronzer that's available, but you end up getting that bronzer just for a couple extra bucks. It's a really good deal. I'm going to use the fluffy side of that. You can use the dense side as well. I like to at least start out with that fluffy side, and I'm going to start at the bottom here, and I'm going to start to blend that. Make sure you get down on your neck, and make sure if you got short hair like me that you're blending up into the ear, down onto the chin, and into the neck. You don't want to look like you've got a moon on your head. You want to make sure everything's blended in together. And when you sent in your selfie, because I'm assuming that if you're watching this video, you've sent us a selfie, but maybe you haven't, make sure that you're giving us a really clear picture of your neck and chest as well, because we want to be able to match that up. Okay. A lot of times we have a darker chest than we do face because most of us are wearing sun protection on our faces, keeping our faces out of the sun, wearing a hat. And so our chests tend to be a little bit darker. And so we want to be able to match that up correctly. Okay. So we're just blending, blending. I like to leave the contour for the end. I actually leave my nose until the very end because my nose is my problem area. I like to make sure I've got a lot of coverage there. But look how natural that's looking, you guys. It's crazy. I'm going to be 56 this year, and it is honestly the first time in my life that I have felt confident with makeup. This was not I would have never thought that Becky Hurley would be talking about makeup and putting makeup on, because I am certainly no expert, and you don't need to be an expert in order to promote and or use SEINT products. This is a little, I'm using a little blend brush. I like this one around my eyes. Again, you could use that perfector sponge to get in around the eyes as well. But look at how that has blended. Now, I do have more tips talking about under eyes. I'm not going to do that right now because I just want to do this basic hack. I don't want to keep you on here for a long, long time. And I'm not going to do an eye look right now, but I am going to do my lips and my cheeks. So we'll go back into our palette. I am going to use for my cheeks my favorite cheek color, which is called Plum. I like the neutrals. Just going to put a little bit on there. Go back into that blush and bronzer brush with that nice fluffy side. Okay, isn't that pretty? We have so many different colors to choose from. I'm going to add a little bit on my lips. I'm going to use our multitasker brush just to take, and I often blend. So I'm going to take some Plum and I'm going to take some Sadie, and you can outline your lip before. Again, I'm just doing a quick look for you. You can have this start to finish. Once you get organized, I can do a 5-minute makeup routine. Right? Last thing, one of the last things I'm going to do is just add an illuminator. You have several to choose from. And what this does is it gives you just a soft glow. You can see how that's picking up the light in there. So I love it right here. I like to use it down center of the nose as well. If you have any, I've got a little bit of open pores on the end of my nose. I like to use the perfector sponge on that just to get those hidden up. Sometimes I'll go back and do a little bit more coverage there. Eyebrows, very important. Now, I'm not the best person to show you this because my eyebrows are pretty prominent. They're still very dark, but if you are somebody that has very blonde, or they've faded a lot, or you've over plucked, I'm sure you've seen that. I like to use this color of shadow matches my eyebrows perfectly, but a lot of times your contour will as well. I'm just taking this line brush and I'm just going to just finish off. You can actually take that and make it look just like hairs, and just finish off the eyebrows. We also have a beautiful eyebrow wax that'll keep everything in place. Eyebrows are the frame of the face. Hey, you might want to, like I said, I'm not going to do a shadow right now, but I'm going to put a little bit of bronzer on my lid. I'm doing an everyday look here. This is exactly what I would do just hanging out at home. I like to use a little bit of my lightest highlight up in here to pull the eye up. And then I'm just going to finish off with a bit of mascara. I have my eyeliner tattooed on. That's another thing that line brush is really good for, is taking that small side and just lining your lid. Okay. Want to keep it in place? I'm going to use a little bit of Stay Spray on that perfector sponge, and I'm just going to go through and seal the deal. Again, if you find you want more, you can add more. If you find that you haven't blended quite enough, blend a little bit more, and you're set for the day. This will literally stay on your face the rest of the day. If you have oily skin, another thing that you can do is go into our setting powder. Can you see that there? That actually is about half full with a setting powder. So if you tend to have oilier skin in the T-zone, that's a great way to finish it up as well. All right, so I hope that helps. And remember, at any time, you can add to your collection. You can get more palettes, you can get more tins. It's so wonderful. As you can see right here, I am just about finished with this one. And all I have to do is pop that out and put my fresh one in. There's no throwing anything away. So enjoy, and if you have any questions at all, please let myself know or your artist. Okay, have a great day, guys. Hope you're enjoying all of your products.